Greetings, my dears. Namaskar to all of you. Peace and calmness, and perhaps to improve the mood. The following story might just might be instrumental. So now imagine a beautiful, stunning, sunny Berlin morning on a Saturday around 8 a.m. or perhaps 9. Now imagine two people, one wearing a house coat basically and a pajamas, and that one is me, because all I wanted is get a pack of cigarettes from the machine on the corner, and I didn't really need to get dressed for that. And another, a German neighbor, God bless his soul, was recently moved in here, wearing the bicycle gear and a helmet because he just came back from a bread run. So imagine these two people climbing over the trash containers into the private forward landlord's yard. It is obvious it's a private yard. And across the street is a so-called Alterheim, right? Which basically means a caring facility for people, for elderly. Back when me and my wife were still together, she used to have her desk and work from out there. So use it as a kind of study, her working place. So she would tell me that every other day she would observe the deceased being removed by the medical transport. Well, what can you do? Old age eventually ends in death, and middle age eventually ends in old age, and young age eventually ends in middle age, and so it all eventually ends in death. So ultimately it's all not that serious. It's just that I know that because I was spending quite some time here alone with my 90-year-old grandmother, who is actually not one of the worst ones. She's currently back in Kiev, living alone on a 16th floor, taking care of herself. Yes, I mean, it's unavoidable. There are effects on her mental state, and her mental capacities are getting affected, and so it was pretty hard to listen to the same story 12 times, but I know that what really got to her was the boredom, and until I was able to figure out the lighting. Lighting was never right? No matter what I tried, like the best lighting I ever tried, until I found the most awful, the most dim, low quality yellow bulb, which you couldn't even buy by piece. You bought them. I think I still have a box full of them. It's like I think 25 or something for 3 years. I suppose they use them at the construction sites, and that surprisingly, yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was the light. So then she was occupied by embroidery. She does really beautiful embroidery, and so that was what kept her busy. And then, but not everybody does that. And now, the first thing I was thinking of climbing over into that yard is that there definitely must be some granny over there, perhaps even from West Germany, and maybe a former Stasi employee or informer, um, just of sheer boredom, sitting next to the window all day and writing down the names and then the numbers and the models of passing cars and the cars parked on the street, just in case, I mean, you never know. Might come in handy. For the police, that's just a find. And yeah, that was what was going through my head, basically. That yeah, the police will probably show up within 10 minutes or so. Now, why in the world was I, together with the help of this kind gentleman, doing this? Simply because I locked myself out. I was fearing that from the moment I moved in and then started living here alone. I enjoy living alone, and yet I always had it at the back of my mind that one day I will lock myself out. My now ex-wife has a pair of keys, and but that was simply not an option. I also was engaged to meet these two ladies and go to Barberini Museum for Kandinsky exposition at 10:30, and the clock was ticking. I was so relaxed, I didn't sleep the whole night. I got some writing done, and I thought, just, I have plenty of time, like, to spruce myself up, maybe even clean up a bit, and be there sharp on the dot. And yeah, then I had to run out of cigarettes and go to that damn machine. And thank God the neighbor happened by, and so I called out to him, and we met each other before. He knew me, I knew him, and I explained the situation to him, and he said, like, okay, man, so what are you about to do? Like, I said, I'm gonna try and go and climb through the window of my office from the inside court, right? And problem is, I live on the ground floor, but it's what's called the Hochparterre, so it's pretty high. And I since I had this phobia for quite a while, I was kind of planning what I might do in case it does really happen. So my window was not fully open. It was open aufkippt, as they call it, just basically tilted towards the side. And so I quickly realized that I couldn't build any sort of a ramp or approach from what I thought would serve the purpose, like a bench and some bricks and chairs, deck chairs and all that. It was raining the previous night. I kind of tried to do it with the bench, put some stuff on, but it was so flimsy, I understood I would collapse with the whole thing. And so it did take me some time, and by the time I realized that, no, it's not gonna work, the neighbor came back, parked his bicycle, and asked me how I was doing. I said, like, look, I'm not doing all that well because it's just like it's not working. And he said, well, let me go upstairs and grab the letter. The German said that, right? He didn't say, hey, look, here's the locksmith's number, and that's the best I can do for you. No, he said, I go up and grab the letter. I just wish his letter was a bit more taller. It was a 6-step letter, the same I have. If it was the 8-step, perhaps, just perhaps. I could have pulled it off, but now I realized that okay, so I can't really like reach up from that height. I was able to reach with that letter, standing even on the top of it, right? Which eventually led to its kidnapping, by the way. And we had to exchange the letters, right? I gave him mine, which is like a sturdy one, and I don't need a really sturdy one because I only use it sometimes to climb up into the storage over my corridor. Even standing like on the very edge, pushing it to the limits, like I couldn't really reach out through like through the gap to kind of turn the handle and open the window full on. And my another idea was always to just okay, grab the sides of the window and get on the windowsill, and then reaching through the gap, open the upper window, which is easier to do and reach, and then like basically climb over through that. Uh, I realized quickly that it's not gonna happen because I probed the windowsill, and then basically I understood that there's great chance it's gonna collapse with like half of the wall in the window will fall on me, and it will be a complete disaster. So then we sort of okay, well, what to do? And then luckily before leaving, I left the window on the other side, which is overlooking the landlord's private garden, and the landlord was unfortunately absent on vacation, and somehow like I was in a rush, like I was really stressed by that, and it didn't occur to me to call him and like, warn him that this is happening, and then like we just like have no other option, we're just gonna use the yard to get in. So there were, right, so like climbing in, so relatively easy and fast without breaking anything. I was again having to step like on the very top of the ladder, and like leading to its like kind of like imploding a little bit because the steel was quite thin. Like prop myself into the apartment, get outside, let the neighbor in. By that time, he already climbed back over the trash cans, and so I just like let him in. We exchanged the letter, shook each other's hands, and I saw that was the end of it. I still think I owe him a bottle of cognac, and I really need to deliver. But no, as I was getting ready to go and meet my date, he came down and said, "Look, apparently the guy had my landlord had a alarm system installed in his front yard, and I always thought I had this idea at the back of my mind because he's an IT guy and a nerd like myself, and I kind of suspected something like it. He might have something like this over." So yeah, of course he did, and the alarm was triggered and informed his son, and he informed his dad, the landlord, my neighbor, and then so like I called him. I said, "Look, you probably are aware, Hamula, by now what had happened. I'm terribly sorry, and I was like stressed and said like it's all cool. We'll talk about it when I get back. I'm just driving. I can't really talk," which so far didn't happen, and it remains to be seen how that conversation will go. But well, that was how my Saturday started. Luckily, I made it. Like I was late only by half an hour, and we made it to Barberini, and that was one of the best experiences of my life lately, as far as visiting exhibitions is concerned, because the exhibition is outstanding. Like Kandinsky was the least interesting for me, but the way they organize it, they give you context, and many of the other works paid way more impression on me, especially given the fact that I was lucky enough to have in my company one of the ladies with a degree in arts and art history, who, upon hearing that I like back in Kiev, I like to go to museums with my artist friend who would explain things to me, and that would make for a completely different experience. So I said, yeah, if you want, I can do that. And I said, yeah, of course, I would like that. And then she started like going, and like it all suddenly started making sense, like what was going on. It was all about perspective. And interestingly enough, I had a conversation with the same artist friend about perspective as far as photography is concerned the day before, and I really objected to everything he said, and now it all started falling into place. So I think I got a hang of it. I still need to kind of try and like implement it, put it into practice, but I feel that this like not only gave me the emotional and visual satisfaction as an exhibition, but also like taught me something almost clicked in my mind. So there was that. I mean, yeah, quite a heavy start. But yeah, I suggest that if you are in Berlin, the exhibition is still going on for quite some time. Grab a friend in the know, hopefully someone with the arts degree or an artist who can really explain things to you, which makes all the difference. And hopefully you don't really have to lock yourself out and climb through your landlord's private yard into your apartment for that to give you an extra level of satisfaction. Now with that, it's quite late here in Berlin right now, so I'm wishing everyone good night, and everyone else I'm saying wishing namaskar and God bless.